Joining us now from the Tasmanian Nationals, Carl Cooper. Carl, thanks very much for being here.
Thank you, Leo.
The Tasmanian Nationals, they've been a historic party. They've been in existence for years, come and gone. But in terms of election success, I mean, of the elections that have been contested in, even this century, there hasn't been much success. What's going to change this time? What are you hoping to change?
There is an opportunity for Tasmania to really galvanise the issues that the state parliament's facing at the moment. The National Party represents local communities, and we're very good at it. But what we're presenting to Tasmania is an opportunity they haven't had before. So I'm ambitious for Tasmania. I'm a Tasmanian by birth, but I believe that we need to live within our means. And currently, we are not managing the state as well as we could. So I I'd like to highlight some of our policies. So we oppose the tendering of state-owned Tasmanian timber industries. We support locally trained and educated teachers, nurses and doctors for the benefit of our health system. We support the state salmon industry, but we also support mining and agriculture. Farmers need a fair deal. They work very hard. The benefits are not always there, and Tasmania makes some of the best food in the world. However, the standard of our health system, the way that we look after ourselves is not fantastic. But we need to benefit from our local produce so that we all benefit. And of course, finally, I'd like to mention the stadium. The Nats do not currently support the proposal on the table. However, we do support strongly the Tasmanian Devils as a team, and we would hope that there is some way to transition through this process to get a viable and sustainable outcome. So the Tasmanian Nats do not support the current stadium, and we do not support outside entities such as corporations dictating the state where the local people are paying the bill. We believe that the stadium and the AFL should have a stronger financial involvement for a suitable facility to showcase all AFL matches in the state. And we also ensure that the project of state significance is completed. We would support that because it's been voted for by the Tasmanian Parliament. So for Tasmanians, we'd like to see a future for AFL in Tasmania, but the current proposal on the table is not acceptable to us.
In terms of the stadium, I'll just touch on that one because it has been an issue that's obviously popped up recently with the no confidence motion, but also generally over the past very short term of Parliament. The AFL seems very adamant that a stadium, this stadium, I should say, would be required to get that team up and running. Obviously, you've said there you do support the team, but look, depending on your results at this election, you could be in a key negotiating position, a key decision to, influence government one way or another. Do you see a team being viable without this Macquarie Point Stadium, noting, of course, the current somewhat small capacities you've got in Hobart and Launceston?
We don't oppose the project in itself. However, we don't think the deal is fair. So we believe that there are significant economic benefits from, but we need to balance that with the fact that the state budget needs to include enough infrastructure or enough finance to cover housing, education, health, and roads. So the idea that this very large project is a fair deal for Tasmanians is not basically supported by the common people. So we would support in a collaborative manner an agreement or dealing with the government, businesses, private sectors, interest groups to ensure that the options are explored to secure the Tasmanian Devils, and we maintain focus on responsible budgetary management. We need to make sure that it's a fair deal for Tasmania, but also a sustainable one.
Regarding the party itself, look, in terms of its history, I think the most recent thing people would remember was that briefly returned with a senator in 2019 federally. At the state level, have not contested since 2014. Before that, it was 1996. Before that, it was 1969. Really, the question is this a return to the party in a long run here, and not just for this brief election and then disappear for a few decades? Does the party have kind of infrastructure to, stay around?
The Nats are widely regarded across other states of Australia. There's been a history of nationals in the earlier years who were represented in the other states of Australia. The Nats naturally transition to the community. We believe that we support local people, they support us. The benefits are there. However, in order to gain support in the parliament, we obviously need to be elected as a party, or at least members of our party need to be elected to parliament. We provide the reason in relation to a reasonable argument in relation to supporting our community. We're there to support the community. We're not interested in the macerations of political organisations. We're here actually to support the people who want to support us. We're looking for people to join our party in Tasmania, but we also recognise that we need to add value to the community. We're represented across the community in Tasmania. There will be candidates up in the 3 northern electorates in Tasmania. We hope to be influential. We will get support, and we will attract people, not only because of the stadium, but recognising that the Nationals are a reasonable group of people. They understand local communities. They're prepared to get engaged in local communities, and they're confident. They're confident in themselves, and they're confident in the community.
Obviously, you just mentioned you've got those 3 seats to contest. We're obviously in the second election of the return to the 7-member electorates, which would give you, or really any candidate, a better chance of actually claiming one of those seats as well. What have you heard in terms of very recent, as we've had the kind of election discourse, what have you heard very recently about support on the ground, support from members? Obviously, you've got enough members to be registered with the TEC. Has it been all positive signs?
I'm hearing in the Bass electorate, I'm hearing very positive support for us currently. I've had people come to me, explain that they're frustrated with the current situation in Parliament in Tasmania. We need to be reasonable. We are prepared to negotiate in relation to the government that is formed. We understand that our strength is in listening to people and following through on their discontent. I think we have a situation where some elected representatives don't seem to be listening. I think there's a general frustration in the community about what is happening here. So if we don't feel like, or the local community don't feel like they're being listened to, then they're frustrated. I don't think you can blame the local people for that. I think you recognise that the system is not supporting them in the parliament. So we need to be listening to them and actually following through on their belief system. If we don't do that, we won't get support, but we also won't be elected into parliament.
Minority government is very likely going to happen following this election under Herr Clark. You can't really see Labor or the Liberals getting a majority. Naturally, for maybe those on the mainland who aren't very familiar with Tasmanian state politics, you think, oh well, Nats would immediately go to the Liberals. Is that the case? What would, if you're lucky enough to get one, maybe 2, 3 elected MPs, and there is a hung parliament situation, what's the position in regards to who you'd negotiate with? Would you be prepared to give supply to Labor or the Liberals?
We have no allegiances currently. We have no arrangements or agreements with any party. We're standing members across, as I said, the northern 3 electorates. We will take, if consider, not basically undermining the system, we'll basically listen to any incumbent that's prepared, or group that's prepared to run as a government, and we will listen and support them if it's a reasonable arrangement. So we will negotiate with whoever basically comes to Parliament with the numbers. That will be done in a transparent and honest manner. We're reasonable people, the Nats. We don't have any allegiances necessarily, but we're here to represent the Tasmanians who need support. I'd just like to broaden the discussion in relation to some of the governance issues that Tasmania is having trouble with at the moment. So our financial arrangements are precarious. We can manage that better. We have expertise in that space. If we're going to run a state as small as Tasmania with and not running within our financial constraints, then we're not managing our resources as best we can. We have a diverse rural state in Tasmania. We have lots of small communities across the north of the state, particularly, but also the south. We need to make sure that we look after people and give them the services they deserve and they need. That means that we have to have good governance. We need to work within our budgets. We need to work within our constraints. If we don't do that, we're not benefiting the state and we're wasting our resources.
Just finally, on the party itself, just want to come back to that. I know you've been involved for some time. I know you were a federal candidate in 2019. Just again, purely from the party itself, just because it has been a bit of a curiosity compared to, well, every other Tasmanian branch. Again, just what's the party been up to for the past 5 years? You haven't had that registration. You aren't contesting federally generally. Is this again? Really, it just is. Where has the party been for this time? Because as I mentioned at the start, right, it just has popped up and down.
No, Leah, in relation to registration, it's a complex process. The AEC in Tasmania registered the party about February this year. The requirements are complex and the process is protracted. But rest assured, in Tasmania, we're registered now as a political organisation in Tasmania. Initially, when we ran in Tasmania the previous time, we were basically working out of New South Wales to manage the party. We didn't have the membership base. We are now galvanising the numbers that we need in order to basically prosecute an argument for the establishment and maintaining of a national base in Tasmania. We have broad support across the community, but we need to galvanise that right across the state.
Just quickly on that, I know it's I think 100 members is a requirement. How so has it been complicated for you? Well, you are registered with the TEC, as you said.
Correct. Well, the process was long, and it required us, obviously, to conform to the rules that the AEC present. But we have those numbers, and we have the party registered now in Tasmania as a whole unit. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep covering the campaign and the party closely. Best of luck with your party's campaign, Carl Cooper. Thank you so much for joining us on 6 News.
Thanks, Leo.